What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone, where we are going to talk about a mega deal. A deal for Douglas Luiz it's very close now. It's extremely close, according to all sources. But in this case, Di Marzio, but also Romano, Nico Schira, all sources reporting the same thing, that a deal that has been structured strange, because two players plus cash. We're going to talk about it. A deal that on paper sounds like an impossible deal because there's so many moving elements, but apparently it's very close to being completed. So that's what we're going to talk about. Douglas Luiz, a few steps away from joining Juve. Before we get into it, hit the like button, subscribe, get at least to 100 likes on this video. So hit the like button now and let's go. Okay, so Douglas Luiz edging extremely close to Juve. So the structure of the deal is this. So Di Marzio saying Luiz is getting closer. The deal with Villa is set to include between 18 and 20 million euro cash from us, plus McKennie and Junior. It will take a few more days to finalize the deal, but the deal is near completion. Romano saying MOTTA gave his green light. They're now talking, about wages, because again, like I said early on, a lot of moving elements, 3 players plus money. That's a lot of work to be done before everybody is satisfied. You need McKennie needs to sign his deal. He needs to be willing to join Aston Villa. The money they're giving him, Junior same, Douglas Luiz the same, and this is actually an insane deal on so many levels. I've seen. Let's start about the deal rather than the players really quickly. A lot of people are saying, man, Douglas Luiz is a free agent next season. So are McKennie and so are Junior. That's the situation. And actually, I didn't look it up, and that's bad on my part. I think Luiz had 2 more years. If it's not 26, then they have an option until 26 or something. That's what I thought, but it could be 25. It could be, I don't know. But even if it's not the case, 26, and even that statement is even weirder. But let's assume it's all 25. You can say he's not worth 70 million. Then we cannot sit there and command 30 million for McKennie, who's on a free next season, or 20 for Junior, who's on a free next season. Like, it worked both ways. If Aston Villa command that money, while we are doing the same with McKennie and Junior, I don't think anyone was thinking about getting 20 plus or like around 20 million for Junior. That's the deal. That's the financial aspect of the deal. On the books, I will talk about it later on, when it's official during the lives. On the books, it's a great deal for the club, and that's what it's about right now. It's trying to complete the team, improve the team, whilst, cleaning up the mess that has been left behind by Agnelli and co. Signing Allegri to a ridiculous contract, making the wrong signings, Pogba's situation, like a complete mess from back to front that Juventus needs to clean out now, and he's doing that, or he's trying to do that, and he's moving quite efficiently. Chesney going out, that is off the books, plus a transfer fee. You get Di Gregorio, and now you get Douglas Luiz, who is relatively young. He's 26, so he's not relatively, he is young. He's not a player I think anyone was talking about, obviously, before it actually broke last week. Because for me, he's not a player. Like, he's a player that will be extremely useful to this team. Like, I'm not gonna deny that he will have an impact on this team, and I think a big one. But he was not a player I was looking at personally where I'm like, okay, he is the missing element in that midfield, because I'm looking more at attacking, and that's not him, but he is good, in possession. He's extremely good. If you look up some of his stats, because I've not watched Villa every single week, I think he's a high intensity player when I watch him play. He's good quality on the ball. He has a very good technique. His passing, long to mid range is spot on. Actually, if you look up a few of his numbers, it's ridiculous in some regards. He's a player who definitely will improve us. McKennie, like I've said it many times, I'm happy with the McKennie one because I was not willing to give him a new deal at that wage. I don't care how good he played. He played to his limits, and the limits are still very decent, like okay, but nothing where I'm like, okay, that's good enough for the next level. It's not, So I'm more than happy to part ways with McKennie. I'm a bit sad for Junior because I wanted to see more before I personally could have made my mind up in terms of, okay, he's not good enough. But again, if you're not willing to give them a new deal, or the player's not willing to sign a new deal, you get them off the books. You don't need to give him a new deal, and you get a player who is better right now. He is better and will be better than McKennie, and potentially also Junior, But again, I've not seen enough of Junior to make that statement. That will help us immediately. That will help Thiago Motta immediately, and that's the most important thing as well. He will come into the team and he will have a big impact on that team. He will, from the get-go. That's the mindset. That's the idea. The deal in itself is. It's crazy that it's moving fast. I know Aston Villa have FFP issues and they need to resolve that before the end of the month, but still, it's a complex deal. A lot of moving players, and still we're finding a way to apparently close it out really, really quickly in a shocking turn of events, to be honest. But Douglas Luiz, he is getting closer. He accepted the move. I think. When there's talks about personal terms, I think these talks are not as deep, because if you go this far in negotiations between the clubs, on some level, that you're gonna get a deal done with the player as well. Otherwise, you don't waste a lot of times, especially in Aston Villa's case when they need to sell a player. But it's edging closer. It's something we haven't seen at this club in a very long time in terms of how we move in the market, how quick decisions have been made, how clear the idea is right now, keeping in mind that he needs to balance out the books. And that's, probably something that's pushing this more so than, okay, we are in for Douglas Luiz from moment one. I think it all came up, do you want Douglas Luiz? Are you interested? And I think Juve was like, okay, do you like McKennie or Junior? Because we're not paying that money. And Villa was like, okay, we can do that. I think that's the type of deal, how it, came into place, basically, which is good. You clear out the books, you get rid of a quote-unquote issue with McKennie with the contract situation. He was not going to sign. What are you going to do? You need to find this replacement. The Junior one, I'm not as sure as Juve wanted to do that ASAP. Maybe they wanted to look at it, but you also need to replace Junior now, because you cannot sell Junior, Sule, and Chiesa, because that leaves you without wingers. But the main story is it's a mega deal because it's weirdly structured. But Douglas Luiz is very close to Juve. I'm quite excited, because like I said, I don't think he was the player that is a missing element, because I still think we need more attacking wise, in my opinion, much more. But he is a player who will have a definitely big impact on the club. So let me know in the comments what you think about Douglas Luiz. We will talk about it more in depth later on. I will also have an Aston Villa fan channel on, and we can talk about what they think about Douglas Luiz, go back and forward. So stay tuned for that. But let me know in the comments early thoughts on the deal. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Let me know why. And yeah, I'll see you again in a couple of hours for a live show. Ciao.